Last night, the Florida Panthers released a statement regarding Sasha Barkov's injury, the extent, as well as how long he will miss this season, and opens a very interesting door for the team in their potential pursuit of a player that could replace him this season. What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Panthers Digest. I'm your host, Greg Andrews, as always, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button right there down below so you guys can stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Well, the news is out. The Florida Panthers have leaked what exactly happened to Aleksander Barkov. What's the extent of the injury and how long will he be out for? So we're going to jump right into that, but I'm also going to do a little teaser on another player that I think the Florida Panthers are going to take an eye at bringing in and possibly trading for. It's already out there a little bit. I talked about Sidney Crosby yesterday, and don't get into a position where nothing is possible. It is. Again, Brad Marchand. Everybody thought he was going to remain a Boston Bruin for the rest of his career, retire a Boston Bruin. Well, guess what? He's a Florida Panther. He's here for the next 5 years. Already has one Stanley Cup with us. So anything is possible. Yes, I know Sidney Crosby, after reading a bunch, he signed the deal to stay with Pittsburgh. He's focusing on being in Pittsburgh, wants to make the playoffs. He's concentrating on the team. I get it, guys, okay? All right. I've read the same things you have, but anything is possible with Bill Zito. Anything is possible. All of you out there that are doubting it and saying there's no way he leaves, Brad Marchand, that's all I have to say. Brad Marchand, I'm going to keep saying it. Brad Marchand, guys. With Bill Zito at the helm, anything can happen. Anything. And they don't have to give up the farm to get him, guys. All of you saying, well, they have to give Reinhart or this or that. No, they will not. A 38-year-old aging player who has maybe a couple of years, maybe 3 left, is not going to the same thing. Even though he's putting up great numbers, it's not the same thing as giving up a Sam Reinhart who still has another 7, 8, 9, 10 years in his career and is putting up similar numbers as well. It's not the same thing. It's not an even trade there. It'd be more about like draft capital. Maybe you give up a younger player, something of those sorts. Maybe you do have to trade Evan Rodriguez. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that, but it can happen, guys. And also with the cap room that the Cats have and the cap increasing over the next couple of seasons, the positive thing to look at with the Cats is if they bring in one of these guys and trade for them, they can keep him on this team and sign him to a multi-year deal if they're on the last year of their contract. Obviously, with Sidney Crosby, if he comes in, it's a little bit different story. He's still got 2 years on his deal. We'll see. We're going to get into that in a second. But right now, this is what I want to talk about. So, yeah, he was all smiles until practice on Thursday when he went down with the knee injury. He ended up having surgery, and this is what the Florida Panthers had to say. Well, he suffered injuries to anterior cruciate ligament, the ACL, and the medial collateral ligament, the MCL, yesterday's practice. That was Thursday. Today, he underwent surgery by Dr. John Uribe at Baptist Health Doctors Hospital, be reevaluated on an ongoing basis. Expected recovery time is somewhere between 7 and 9 months, which means he could possibly, by some slim chance, be able to return sometime during the playoffs. But I have a feeling the Panthers will be ultra cautious with this and say, you know what, let's have him rehab this injury, make sure that he's at 100%. We don't want him to come back in here and have another injury possibly happen to him. So my view is they're probably going to be exploring their options out there and probably make a huge move. I mean, I already know Bill Zito's got those wheels turning in his head. He's working with the front office, trying to figure out how to fill that enormous void in their roster right now. And don't forget, guys, I know people are like, they're out of the playoffs now. Yes, they've gone to 7th best possibility of winning the cup now instead of first. But the thing you always have to realize, too, is remember, Matthew Tkachuk will come back this season, December, January, somewhere around that time. So he'll be back. Thomas Nosek will be back. We'll see how some of these other guys are able to step up, and that's the key. Can Lundell step up? Will Samoskevich step up? Will Erod step up? How will Bennett play on that first line? The second line now is Lustrainen, Marchand, and Lundell. They're not third line anymore. That third line is now Erod and Boqvist and Samoskevich. How will they play together? So there's going to be some changes. And how aggressive will Bill Zito be right off the bat? Will he go after someone and try to make a trade before the season starts to maybe try to build some chemistry? Or will he wait and try to be patient and say, you know what, let's see how the team plays in the first month of the season. Obviously, they can't fall too far behind if, let's say, things are not working out, the team chemistry is all messed up because Sasha Barkov isn't there. Again, don't worry too much about the defense. They still have the runner-up for the Selke Trophy in Reinhart. Bennett is a pretty decent defenseman as well. They do have Aaron Ekblad. They do have Seth Jones. They're a good defensive team, and who knows how they switch or alter their scheme in terms of their defensive preparation for each team. How are they going to focus on a little bit more to fill that void of Sasha Barkov? Again, it is next man up, and I want to show you this quote before we move forward from head coach Paul Maurice on not having Sasha Barkov. Yeah, I know it's a pretty sad thing, Paul. It's not a good thing, coach. Not a good thing at all. There's no hiding it. That's the big man. He's such an important place in that locker room. We're going to get to experience now is you'll get to know some of the other leaders that we have in our room. We'll get to see other players, but at the end of the day, I know there's a next man up mentality here, and I get that, but there's not a next man for his skates. It says big words from their head coach on that big gap now in their roster, and this is Anton Lundell on the injury. You never want to see anybody get hurt, especially Barkey on the first day, the first practice of camp. The moon was a little down for sure yesterday, but we all texted Barkey. I talked to him. He's doing all right. That's all we know. We hope he's going to be back quickly. So what we can all hope for right now is, well, let's hope that he does end up getting back maybe a little bit early. I don't think the Panthers are going to rush this one. I think they're going to sit, let him recover. He's got a great staff that he's working with. The surgeon that performed his knee surgery, I actually know who he is. I've been to that hospital and had 3 shoulder surgeries. I had a ruptured Achilles that was repaired by Dr. San Giovanni. He was fantastic. Dr. John Vijak performed my shoulder surgeries. They all work in the same office with Dr. Uribe. Phenomenal surgeons. Best in the country, best training staff that's out there. And you already know the staff at the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers is going to work diligently to try to make sure he's going to be back to full health. Possibly, I would say they'll shoot for next season to make sure he's back at 100%, not risk another injury by bringing him back too early. So let's keep moving on here. That's what the Panthers had to say. This is ideally what happened. That is a shot of the right knee. You can see on the side of the screen, or right there on this side, medial collateral ligament right there. That's on the inside of the right part of the knee. And behind the patella is the ACL, the anterior cruciate ligament. Those are the 2 things that he tore. You can kind of tell by the way he went down in the practice that's pretty much where it was going to be. And I pretty much called it and said it's probably MCL, ACL as soon as I saw it, because I've seen the injury before. It's gruesome. It's terrible. But that's why they performed the surgery right away, was to make sure they minimized as much of the damage that was already done. Because if they waited, if you put weight on that knee or on that leg, it could make things so much worse. Obviously, they did not say the extent of how bad the tears were. I don't know if it was open surgery. I don't know if it was arthroscopic. That is something we do not know anything about. But speedy recovery to him. Best of luck with the recovery. I think he's going to be coming back and will be fantastic. I don't think he's going to skip a beat. Just remains to be seen, when will that be. So he will be on LTIR, and that means this. We've got to look forward to what is Bill Zito going to do. Again, is he going to pull the trigger on something right away and make a big move and big splash with a trade? Is he going to find a free agent, which I'm going to have other videos about possibilities of trades, unrestricted free agents that are on the market right now and still available that they could pick up. So they freed up a lot of cap space because of this. Like I said, silver lining is they could make a big trade for somebody to bring in for the season to fill those skates. Obviously not going to be the same thing. I don't think it puts them at the top to win the Stanley Cup again and have, the consecutive three consecutive Stanley Cups. I don't think it's to put them at the top, but does it improve their chances? Absolutely, to get Sidney Crosby. Yes. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know if he's going to come down here. He's been pretty adamant about saying he's focusing on Pittsburgh. He's focusing on the playoffs this year. That's where he wants to be. He wants to finish out his career there, but anything's possible. Again, Brad Marchand, anything's possible. So, Anton Lundell, Baby Barkov, that's the nickname he's been given. He is saying that, you know what, it's time for everybody to step up, especially for me. It's an opportunity to bring a little more to the table. It's something I want to take as a good challenge. So I think everybody has the same mindset. Again, you're going to see a bunch of guys stepping up in the locker room. It's not going to be quiet. I think you'll hear a lot from Reinhart, Bennett, Marchand for sure. You're going to hear a lot from Ekblad. All these guys, everyone's going to be talking. Everyone's going to step up. I don't see a big issue with them, like some of you saying, oh, they're not going to make the playoffs. I disagree. They're really strong. Again, they've got great defensemen. Again, Selke Runner-up behind Barkov was Reinhart. They still have Aaron Ekblad. They still have Seth Jones. They still have Bennett, who's a great defender. They're still a great defensive team, guys, but we just have to see how things mesh. Tkachuk will come back in December, January. I already said it. So things will get better. It's just how far into the season will Bill Zito want to wait? Because if they start to fall in the standings, it's going to be really hard for them to try to catch up. So does he do something sooner than later, or does he wait a little to see what the team is capable of doing and try to not do anything yet? That remains to be seen. So who could they look at? You guys asked, you shall receive. Evgeni Malkin. Yes, he's 39 years old. The 6'5", 210 center from the Pittsburgh Penguins still has some gas in the tank. He is not like the way he's played in the last couple of seasons. He has something to prove. He wants to do it with Pittsburgh next year, get into the playoffs. He's going to, do his best this next season. He's like, I do not like the way I've been doing things. Let's make this season my best season in the last few years. And these have been his numbers. Not the most impressive things. He's definitely fallen off, but still productive nonetheless. You see the minus 24 there and plus minus because I already told you guys they were at the bottom, near the bottom of the Eastern Conference, third worst in the Eastern Conference last season. But he is an open mind, guys, about a possible trade. It's not off the table completely. It's hard. Again, we see a story like Brad Marchand looking good, team trades you, you win the cup. It's a little weird too, of course. Everybody wants to make the playoffs, make one more run at the cup. Great story, but I don't know how I would feel if the team wants to trade me. If this is my last year, I've had 20 years. That's not too bad, too. I'm glad to be a Penguin. Win 3 Stanley Cups here. So what does that tell me? To me, it sounds like he doesn't want to be traded, but he'll accept the fact if he's traded to a contender. If he comes here, does that mean that, they're going to shoot to the top of the standings and they're going to be the team to beat again? Not necessarily. He's 39 years old. He still can play. He still checks guys harder than ever. He's still a good defender, great shot. Team player, stands in front of the net, big body that can definitely screen out goalies and stuff. He still is very capable of being a top player in the league at his position. Yes, he's not what he was at 29, but he still has at least a year or two left, I think. And he's got 1 year left on his contract. And here's where we sit right now in terms of what is the dollar amount going to be to get him? $6.1 million. That little anchor right there means he has the last say in whether or not he wants to be traded to the team that essentially he will be traded to. So it's going to be a yes or no from him. Does it happen? Doesn't it? Who knows? But I think he'd be a great fit on that first line. You can move things back to kind of where they were. I don't even know if he might be that top line. Again, it's so hard to say. Would you put him on the third line? Would you put him on the first? Really difficult decision. I would say probably top line. Move Bennett. Have that second line of Lundell, Lustrand, and Marchand back to the third line. And you have Bennett come back to that second line and be in between Rodriguez and Samoskevich. I think it could work out really well because he is a great passer. You saw he had a lot of assists last season. Still very good numbers. He can still put the puck in the back of the net. But we have to see what happens. And on a 1 year deal, it could be perfect. You get him for a year, you let him go after the season's done, let him walk, goes back to Pittsburgh potentially, and you go from there. And then it opens the door for you to sign other unrestricted free agents next season, like Connor McDavid. Things like that. I know people keep saying, get Connor McDavid, get Connor McDavid. He's too expensive right now, guys. He's going to be too expensive. I don't think he's going to want to come here. But again, I don't know. Anything is possible with this team right now. Anything is possible. I'm not leaving anything off the table. Could he come here? Absolutely. Bill Zito could extend an offer, but I just think to get Connor McDavid, you're going to have to give up way too much. That is a different player to go after than Sidney Crosby, like some people said. Oh, you're going to have to give up Reinhart or someone good. No, you're not. An aging Sidney Crosby is not the same thing as a 30-year-old Sam Reinhart. They're very different. Yes, Sidney Crosby can still play. The reason why he's been putting up the numbers he's had, he's still a leader, but he's the top talent on their team. He's got to put up those numbers for them to even contend in every single game. It's pretty obvious. Okay, let's leave it at that. Evgeni Malkin, a little bit cheaper. I don't think it's going to be that hard to bring him in here. I don't think you're going to have to give up a whole lot at 39 years old. He probably has a year or two left, last year of his contract. But a Connor McDavid's going to be real tough because he's such a talent. You can maybe win him over as a free agent, but that remains to be seen. I think it's just going to be too costly. To get him, you'd have to give up Reinhart, you'd have to give up Bennett, and you probably have to give up another player in order to get him to come down here. I mean, it'd probably have to be Bennett and Reinhart if I would have to say anything. But anyways, guys, so that is where we're at. That's the Barkov injury. That's the look at Evgeni Malkin about coming down here. They do have the cap room, especially moving forward. I already said in one of my last videos that they are going to have some sort of cap room between about $3.5 million to about $10 million at the end of the season if they sign their big free agents in Bobrovsky, Mikkola, Samoskevich, and some of the other guys that are on the team, on the team that they need to re-sign at those smaller contracts. Those guys are at 7 to 75 right now. If they want to retain them, maybe give them the same contract for a year, or maybe give them $1 million per year for 3 years, something along those lines. So that's how I got those numbers done. But very real possibility to get him. Could be exciting. Does it escalate them to be the favorites? Not necessarily, but it does fill some of that void. That's a big one left by the injury to Aleksander Barkov. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time, probably later today, because I think I'm going to have another video coming out about another player that could be really, really interesting to discuss because he's younger, tons of talent. He is a restricted free agent, however, so it could be a little bit tougher to get him, but tons of talent. Great fit for this team. Speed, shooting, assist man, defense. He can do it all, and he's not going to really break the bank. I would say the Panthers, if they get him, trade for him, could stay here for a long time, guys, because the cap room is going to keep going up every year. Anyways, guys, again, thank you so much for joining. I'll talk to you guys later today. Go Cats.